Welcome to Progressive Independence. I'm Michael Wilk in Cleveland with a bombshell story dropping today. Glenn Greenwald resigns from the Intercept in protest of censorship by the editors on an article he intended to publish criticizing Joe Biden on his son's scandal in Ukraine and China that the mainstream press has been attempting to suppress for weeks now, and it just refuses to go away. Glenn Greenwald tendered his resignation on Substack with a statement regarding the Intercept's editors in New York trying to suppress his reporting on Joe Biden and Hunter Biden after revelations of leaked emails, leaked audio, and also a statement from Hunter's former business partner, all tying Joe Biden to corruption in Ukraine and China. So this is really big news here. So let me go ahead and start reading from here. Today I sent in my intention to resign from The Intercept, the news outlet I co-founded in 2013 with Jeremy Scahill and Laura Poitras, as well as from its parent company, First Look Media. The final precipitating cause is that The Intercept's editors, in violation of my contractual right of editorial freedom, censored an article I wrote this week, refusing to publish it unless I remove all sections critical of Democrat dictatorial candidate Joe Biden, the candidate vehemently supported by all New York-based Intercept editors involved in this effort at suppression. The censored article, based on recently revealed emails and witness testimony, raised critical questions about Biden's conduct. Not content to simply prevent publication of this article at the media outlet I co-founded, these Intercept editors also demanded that I refrain from exercising a separate contractual right to publish this article with any other publication. I had no objection to their disagreement with my views of what this Biden evidence shows. As a last-ditch attempt to avoid being censored, I encourage them to air their disagreements with me by writing their own articles that critique my perspectives and letting readers decide who is right the way any confident and healthy media outlet would. But modern media outlets do not air dissent, they quash it, so censorship of my article, rather than engagement with it, was the path these Biden-supporting editors chose. The censored article will be published on this page shortly. My letter of intent to resign, which I sent this morning to First Look Media's President Michael Bloom, is published below. So, yeah, I mean, this is pretty big because, you can try and smear the New York Post as a right-wing rag with no credibility because, quite frankly, it is a right-wing rag with no credibility. But Glenn Greenwald has serious credentials within independent media, and he's also the kind of person who gives no damns whatsoever when it comes to standing up to editors and publishers he feels are being dishonest and harming journalism. So let me see if I can go ahead and scroll down here to describe some of the more egregious crimes of the Intercept against journalism. So, let me just highlight the portions here that are relevant before. All right, so it says, the most egregious, but by no means only example of exploiting Glenn Greenwald's name to avoid responsibility was the Reality Winner debacle. Because basically what's been happening is that in an effort to avoid responsibility for its false reporting on, say, Russiagate, the Intercept has been using Glenn Greenwald's name to kind of deflect criticism away, saying, hey, look, we have someone like Glenn Greenwald, and, he's, like some managing editor or something, or co-founding editor, so, blame him for it. And of course, no, that's not the case. So let's go ahead and go back to the article. As the New York Times recently reported, that was a story in which I had no involvement whatsoever. While based in Brazil, I was never asked to work on the documents which Winner sent to our New York newsroom, with no request that any specific journalist work on them. I did not even learn of the existence of that document until very shortly prior to its publication. The person who oversaw, edited, and controlled that story was Betsy Reed, which was how it should be given the magnitude and complexity of that reporting and her position as editor-in-chief. Now, a little backstory is that Reality Winner is an NSA former employee who, in an effort to promote the Russiagate lie that Vladimir Putin somehow interfered in the 2016 election to elect Caligula Drumpf, leaked a document to the Intercept. But the Intercept reporters, instead of protecting their source, took the document to the government to verify its authenticity, and also because they wanted access to the government and the ability to say, hey, look, we're cooperating. We want to get your statement on this, so we're going to check with you first before we go to publish this because we don't want to offend you. And so they burned their source, not the first or only time that they've done this. And as a result, their source is now in prison, serving many, many decades, unless somebody commutes her sentence, which I don't think is going to happen. So let me go ahead and go back to the article here. It was Intercept editors who pressured the story's reporters to quickly send those documents for authentication to the government because they were eager to prove to mainstream media outlets and prominent Democrats that the Intercept was willing to get on board the Russiagate train. They wanted to counteract the perception created by my articles expressing skepticism about the central claims of that controversy, that the Intercept had stepped out of line on a story of high importance to United States Democrats and even some who claim to be on the left but are actually on the far right. That craving to secure the approval of the very mainstream media outlets we set out to counteract was a root cause for the speed and recklessness with which that document from Winter was handled. So, yeah, this is, again, a pretty big bombshell because Greenwald is basically calling bullshit on Intercept editors for not only promoting false information regarding a discredited conspiracy fantasy, but also basically saying, look, you're not tossing me under the bus on Reality Winner. You guys chose to mishandle the documentation she provided you. You never even bothered to verify independently whether it was true or not before handing it over to the government without doing anything to make sure that your source was protected. And because of that, this person is now in prison, probably for life. And, you're not going to blame me for this. So let me go ahead and go to the article that Greenwald says was censored. Article on Joe and Hunter Biden censored by The Intercept, an attempt to assess the importance of the known evidence and a critique of media lies to protect their favorite candidate, could not be published at The Intercept. Greenwald says, I am posting here the most recent draft of my article about Joe and Hunter Biden, the last one seen by Intercept editors before telling me that they refused to publish it, absent major structural changes involving the removal of all sections critical of Joe Biden, leaving only a narrow article critiquing media outlets. I will also, in a separate post, publish all communications I had with Intercept editors surrounding this article so you can see the censorship in action, and given the Intercept's denials, decide for yourselves. This is a kind of transparency responsible journalists provide, and which the Intercept refuses to this day to provide regarding their conduct in the Reality Winner story. This draft obviously would have gone through one more round of proofreading and editing by me to shorten it, fix typos, etc., but it's important for the integrity of the claims to publish a draft in unchanged form that Intercept editors last saw, and announced that they would not edit but completely gut as a condition to publication. Because the provision within Glenn Greenwald's contract with The Intercept was that he had full editorial control over his own writing, meaning that he would have to be free to write what he wanted and not be censored by the editors. Because the original intent of The Intercept was to be a place where, no, your stories would not be spiked by management and suppressed because they went against what the editors wanted published. So, because the New York Times infamously in 2004 refused to publish news that the George W. Bush regime was using the NSA and other spy agencies to illegally spy on United States citizens without any warrants whatsoever. And they sat on that information, and as a result, Bush got reelected or reselected because he stole both elections, the 2000 and 2004 elections, and the New York Times did not publish a story until almost a year after their second stolen election. And would Bush have managed to steal 2004 away from John Kerry if this article had been published as it should have been? So, because you, as a member of the public, have a right to know what illegal things your government is doing with your tax money. So, yeah, this is a big story. And the Intercept is suppressing it, and Glenn Greenwald is exercising his contractual clause to say, look, you don't get to tell me what I can and cannot publish. So, yeah, I mean, this is just a sick burn right here, but the most hilarious bit is an article by Peter Maas. But, first I'm going to go ahead and show you the article. Publication by the New York Post 2 weeks ago of emails from Hunter Biden's laptop relating to Vice Dictator Joe Biden's work in Ukraine